Hi, welcome to Loft 801. My name is Diego, and today I'm talking about Mickey 17. Directed by the acclaimed Bong Joon-ho, this movie is a science fiction satire film about exploitation, capitalism, and what it means to be human. The narrative centers on Mickey Barnes, portrayed by Robert Pattinson. He's an expendable clone assigned to dangerous tasks on the icy planet of Niflheim. Each time Mickey dies, he's regenerated, ultimately questioning the ethics of cloning. Quick heads up, this review will contain spoilers, so please continue at your own risk. Alright, you've been warned, so I'm hopping in. Set in 2054, Mickey and his friend Timo have fled some debtors and found work with the colonization mission on Niflheim. Timo is a dick and works as an engineer. Mickey is an insecure and timid man with no self-esteem, and as a result, he takes the worst job imaginable as an expendable. His brain matter are stored on a brick, and anytime he dies, he's basically 3D printed. He's died 16 times now and is cloned 17. He takes on another dangerous job and is presumed dead, so Mickey 18 is cloned. However, Mickey 17 is not dead, and when he returns to the colony, the cloning protocol state neither of them can live. This is a dark humor movie. I think Joon-Ho does a decent job of blending the genres of political satire, dark comedy, and science fiction. The story is an on-the-nose critique of capitalist structures and the idea of being expendable in modern society. Mickey's repeated deaths and resurrections are a metaphor for the exploitation of labor and the dehumanization within capitalist systems. The satire and pokes at capitalism are largely good. The downside to the political satire is Mark Ruffalo's character. Full disclosure, I've never been a huge fan of Mark Ruffalo, even in the MCU, so I might be biased. Marshall is a Donald Trump-like figure with the dial cranked up. I used to really like the humor against Trump, but it's been so overdone over the last 10 years that I don't really care for it anymore. It's kind of like the MCU. It's the same jokes, same mannerisms, and same impersonations every time. The acting feels like SNL and, well, unoriginal. Also, I think the reason the Trump satire did not work in this movie is because when this movie was made, Joon-Ho clearly expected Trump to lose the 2024 presidential election. Marshall's backstory is that he lost an election twice, and since Trump didn't lose, a lot of the strength behind the political commentary is immediately lost. Anyways, the upside to not liking Ruffalo's character is that there's plenty of room to love Robert Pattinson's Mickeys. He is incredible as 17 and 18. I love the subtle differences and nuances between his characters. Pattinson's interactions with himself are seamless and avoid that janky green screen feel. I love seeing him caught between duty, love, and self-preservation. Genuinely, you should watch this movie for Pattinson alone. Ever since The King, I've been a huge Pattinson simp and I get excited to see him in movies. Since The Batman Part 2 has been pushed to 2027, I am going to treasure and cherish all the Pattinson I can get. Other cast members like Naomie, Ackie, and Yeun are good. Ackie plays Nasha Barrage, a security guard and Mickey's love interest. I think the romance element in this movie is good because it helps you to not get so lost in the political satire sauce. However, I didn't necessarily like Akkie's character because she doesn't leave any room for Mickey to grow. By the end of the film, he's still the same loser and Nasha takes charge despite her prior questionable behaviors. Like I said, Yeun's Timo is a jerk. He didn't really provide the camaraderie I hoped for, so I found his interactions with Mickey to be a bit lackluster. It's nothing against Steven, I loved his acting, his character just sucked, and I do think he was underutilized. Toni Collette was also great in this movie. I loved her weirdo behavior, but there were certainly moments where her character Ylfa was just as distracting as Marshall. The rest of the supporting cast is also good. I don't have much more to say about them other than I liked Anna Maria Vartolome's Kai Katz. Visually, this movie is fun. It's largely constrained to the colony, but in the moments we get with the icy planet, it genuinely feels like a vast wasteland. It's very stark and isolated like Hoth from Star Wars. I really like the sci-fi dystopian feel of the colony. It felt oppressively tight like a submarine or vault from Fallout. I also love the creepers in this movie. The alien life looked good. They're like large mutated roly-polies, and I like the idea that they're much more developed than the colonizers think. The score for this movie is fine. I don't remember much about it, but it got the job done. It crescendoed when it needed to and was bittersweet in ambiguous moments. A fun fact about this movie is that it's an adaptation of a novel by Edward Ashton. Mickey 7 released in February of 2022, and as far as I can tell, Mickey 17 largely follows that same story of an expendable on Niflheim. Now, while I found the story enjoyable, I was a bit let down. My expectations were pretty high, and I feel like a lot of the caricature characters really harmed a lot of the social commentary that Joon-Ho was trying to make. By the time the credits rolled, I didn't really care about the anti-colonization message. I didn't care about the anti-capitalism message. I didn't care about the anti-cloning message. This movie didn't move me emotionally or intellectually, and I didn't like the way it ended because it felt like it was patting itself on the back for a job well done. I think a much more serious tone would have hammered home many of these themes similar to the way they get hammered home in Avatar. The last thing I want to say about this movie is that it had a budget of over $200 million, so I am a little more critical of it. However, I also feel I've been very generous with my review because I am a Pattinson fan and I think we have a huge shortage of sci-fi interplanetary movies. I think my biases tend to balance out, but if I'm skewed one way or another, please let me know. Mickey 17 is an enjoyable but mixed bag for me. It's a visually engaging sci-fi film with strong performances, especially from Robert Pattinson, who absolutely carries this movie, but it struggles to land its deeper commentary because of how cartoonish some of the characters are. I'm looking at you, Mark Trumpolo. Bong Joon-ho is a talented filmmaker, no doubt, and I appreciate the ambition here. But for a movie that tackles big topics like cloning, capitalism, and colonization, it doesn't quite hit with the weight or emotional depth I expected. I walked out of this movie feeling empty. Still, I'm glad sci-fi movies like this are getting made, whether they're original, weird, and or packed with ideas. If you love Pattinson like I do, or if you're craving something in the sci-fi space, I think this movie is worth checking out. Just make sure you go in with tempered expectations. On the other hand, if you're not a fan of political satire or SNL, then do yourself a favor and skip this movie. Thank you for listening to my review of Mickey 17. If you enjoyed the content, leave a like and hit subscribe. If you did not enjoy the content, thank you for sticking around. As always, I would love to read what you have to say, so leave a comment and let me know what you're thinking. Also, if there's something you want to see reviewed, don't forget to let me know and I will do my best to get to it. Lastly, if you want to see some more from me, then you can check out my vlogs linked up above or my podcast Good Friends. Again, thank you for watching. My name is Diego and I will see you next time.